Hi friends, welcome to the Scapegoat Club. My name's Jess, and in this video I'm going to talk about the idea of power in estrangement, specifically between adult children and their parents, and this idea of the power imbalance that occurs in that dynamic. It's tricky, it's complicated, it might be controversial, so get comfy for a few minutes and let's dive in. Hi friends, if we haven't met yet, my name's Jess. I'm a psychotherapist, a counselor, a coach, a scientist, and most importantly, I think for this video, I am also estranged from my parents. And so this video is very much going to be my opinion, which is based on my experience of estrangement and also through this channel and through working with other people who have estranged. So there's going to be more opinion in this one than perhaps in some of my other videos. And it's also what I've realized a bit of a tricky subject for me, but I think it's really interesting and I would like to talk about it because I see, and I've read a lot of comments, power imbalance and this almost like this power trip perhaps, where adult children decide to cut off their parents. And so by restricting either the time that the parents can spend with their children or potentially with grandchildren or other members of the family, can really feel like it's a punishment, and it's being done in order to try and control and to assert a certain power over the parents. So I really want to dive into this idea because I really find this a very difficult subject, and I'm going to tell you why. First of all, the idea of power in relationships is very unsettling for me. Maybe it's because of my experience where I felt that for a long time I was controlled and there was a hierarchy in my family, and it was very much a case of I was expected to do certain things, to act in certain ways, and if I didn't, there were consequences. There was a power. There was a power that was exerted by my parents, by my sister, and having lived and experienced that, it was awful. And for me, that's not a relationship. For me, a relationship is based on, well, it is a relationship, but it's not how a healthy relationship with someone you care about should be. The power thing is more about what someone can do for you rather than having a mutuality, a bit of an equality, a shared experience. And so I get really concerned when people talk about the idea of power in the relationship, because for me that's like a little window into how they think, and they think of relationships in terms of power. And I think for a lot of us who a lot of us don't think that way. It's just not even in our consciousness that we would even consider having power over another human being. Or we have been on like the receiving end more and we don't like it and we don't want to do it. And I think that's really where I want to go with this. But I think also I have to acknowledge probably the hardest part of this idea of power in a relationship is that, and it might sound like I'm being a bit of a hypocrite here, is that I believe that it is true. So with my parents, I really actually feel it with my mother, who is I think gets very upset because we're not in contact, because she places so much of her own values and happiness and ways of being around this, which is a fantasy that we're a functional family. And so by default then, I do have this power, and I can see it, that when I have unfortunately had to say, you know what, I can't do this, I cannot be a part of this dynamic, it's too much, it's too unhealthy for me, and it's crazy, I can't do that. I have felt that power, and it was brief, it was fleeting, but I think even just my awareness that it's there, and it would be unfair of me to say that I haven't kind of mentally briefly gone into that idea of, I've got some power here, I can hurt somebody, or I have this ability to hurt somebody with this idea of whether I am engaged with them or not. And there's something about it that was curious and interesting, and I kind of mentally dabbled with. I don't know, I feel like it was just for a few seconds even, but the idea even that I thought about it and that I was aware of it, to me is like, I feel very uncomfortable with that, because as I'm going to say now, that's not how I want to operate, and that's not why I estranged from my parents. Sadly, I estranged because I had to get away from, I won't go into it, but very harmful and illegal activity, and that's why I had to move away from there. And I'm not going to apologize and sugarcoat that piece. There was no question that I had to leave. And so, but that's the thing, I did it for me rather than to hurt her or anybody else in my family. But there was this byproduct, and I guess there kind of still is this idea that therefore I have this ability to hurt somebody else in this way. And this is where I really want to go with this. The why I find this idea then of power so disturbing. It's because for me, it's a trap. It's like what I would call a double bind, where when no matter whether I stay in the relationship or I leave, I'm still have a responsibility in it, even though I don't want that responsibility. I am being told, I am being given that responsibility that, Jess, if you leave, if you don't talk to us, then we are going to be so upset. And it's like they're giving me this power and responsibility, but I don't want it. Yeah, I've said on many occasions, like, I don't want this. I don't want you to feel bad. I do not want, that is not my reasoning here. Take this power from me. Take this responsibility from me, basically. Because I'm doing it for my reasons, and my best case scenario is they're like, oh, we get it. We don't like it, but we respect it, and we're going to move on. And thank you for telling us. And we will take our feelings and what we need to do, and we will move our lives that way. We will take this expectation from you, but they don't, and they keep going, and it's this continuous, like, well, why won't you? Why can't you? What's wrong? And this ongoing idea that, again, they're giving me this responsibility that I've said, I don't want it. I almost feel like it's like somebody's dumped a baby on my lap, and like they're going, that's your responsibility now. And I'm like, whoa, I didn't ask for it. I didn't want to take care of it. And they're like, well, you're sitting there, so it's your responsibility now. And I'd love to know what your thoughts are. As always, I love to know your thoughts, but I'd love to know your thoughts specifically on this next bit. I can't think of another scenario where somebody could say, you know what, I've reviewed the situation, I've reviewed the relationship, I've looked at the fine print or whatever, and I make the conscious choice to stop this. For example, say we marry someone and the relationship doesn't work out, we can divorce them, we can legally separate and move on with our lives. We can leave a job. We can, as parents, we can give our children up for adoption. even royalty can abdicate from a born into scenario. Why, as an adult person who has the capacity and the ability and the intelligence to understand what is right for me, why can I not then say, I don't want to be a part of this situation, I want to end it? I don't have the ability to legally divorce my parents, I don't think. I guess theoretically there's the scenario where, I don't know, I could take a restraining order out. Seems too much, seems like unnecessary. But again, why isn't there this idea that we can separate and move on? And I know that this is really a moot point. It doesn't really matter because I can't move on. I'm separate. It's done. It's, I can do what I need to do to keep myself safe. But the idea that we still have this obligation towards somebody else and that gives us power over them, for me, is so binding. It's entrapment in my world. And it just makes me feel very, very uncomfortable. Friends, thank you so much for being here. As always, I really, really am just so grateful for your presence, for the community we're building, and for all your thoughts. If you're struggling and you'd like a little bit more help, just give me a shout. I do one-on-one coaching and we can hopefully work through some things together. You can subscribe, stick on the notification bell. You can donate through my Patreon still. All of the things. I've got a blog, blah, 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 blah. Thank you so much for being here and please take care. I will talk to you soon. Bye for now.